Hi, everyone. I'm Neeharika. I'll just do a quick introduction, and maybe Ravi, you can also introduce yourself before we start the conversation. So, yeah, I head business and operations at a young company called WisdomCircle. And the work that we do primarily is to connect all kinds of organizations to retired professionals for various part time, short duration, project based roles. We do see a gap in this space, and there's a lot of value that older senior professionals can bring back to the workplace and to various organizations. And therefore, this is what we do.
Thank you,
Over to
Neeharika.
you.
Good afternoon once again to everyone. My name is Ravi. I am part of L&T Technology Services. I head the HR for India and APAC region. We're part of the bigger, larger L&T. I don't think L&T needs introduction as such. Everyone knows what L&T is all about. Though the mindset comes the moment we think L&T is a construction company, but L&T Technology Services purely looks into engineering services space. That's where we are. And nice to be here. Okay, so with that being said, I thought we'll ask a few questions to Neeharika to understand the future proofing of talent. So, Neeharika, let me ask you this first question. What key strategies do you believe organizations should adopt to effectively future proof their talent in today's dynamic environment?
Thank you, Ravi. So I want to sort of start this answer by actually looking at the trends that we're seeing these days in the workplace and with employees. Of course, we're seeing a lot of people, irrespective of generation, seniority, we're seeing that a lot of people are looking more for meaning and purpose from their work. The other thing is that they also seem to want to work in a nice, good, positive culture and with good people that they like. And they also want to do work that they enjoy. So that's one thing that's becoming more prominent. In addition to this, we're also seeing somewhat of a trend starting in India towards more freelancing, gig work, portfolio life, however you want to phrase it. So, keeping these two things in mind as an organization and with all the work that we have done, I have done in my professional life, I think when you think about future proofing, it's becoming more and more about diversity and inclusion. So, how do you build a diverse organization with diverse people? How do you build an inclusive culture, put in place inclusive practices? And more, it's coming out that people, again, irrespective of the work that they're doing and how many years of experience that they are finding a lot of value and they're seeking out mentors for themselves. So, keeping all this in mind, the work that we do at WisdomCircle specifically looks at age diversity, I would say. You can think of it as multi-generational, but it's one side of the age spectrum or generation spectrum. And we refer to the group as wisdom generation. So I'll keep saying the word wisgen, which is short for wisdom generation. These are the folks 50 plus that we help connect to organizations. So we're seeing organizations leverage wisgen in various ways to quote unquote future proof their talent and their organization. So yeah.
No, thanks, Neeharika. Actually, I can think about post retirement. If I still want to continue, I'll reach out to Neeharika.
Please do, please do. And if there's anyone else here and anyone that you know in your family and professional circles. So my question for you, Ravi, would be in your role as India and APAC HR head at LTTS, are you seeing any sort of collaboration between industry and academia when it comes to sort of future proofing talent? Any perspectives on that?
Sure, thank you. That's a good question, Neeharika. So, I think I'll take a step back in terms of what the universities and colleges are trying to do. And there are certain companies who have already initiated that step forward. There are quite a few universities and colleges who have ensured that part of their academic council, they do have industry experts to curate their curriculum, right? And that brings in a good experience for the colleges and university to make sure that their students are ready to be built right from day one. Billing is important because part of being a services company for us from day one, the billing is most important. You can't get a fresher and put them into the billing, and then we get into some challenges there. One, obviously, preparing the curriculum to industry experts in the being a part of the academic council. The bigger services company are already doing this, including us. Second, trying to be an early exposure for these students. What we do is, as an L&T technology services and also other companies, we have tied up with certain colleges and universities wherein at a fifth semester itself, we infuse the talent or the competency or the skill that we want them to be ready with when they come out from a BB Tech engineering. And we ensure that they go through those modules and they are ready for to be built right from the day one. Last but not the least, I'll also talk about the industry experience going back to the colleges. Right, we do have our business unit heads or our industry experts who would go back to the colleges and deliver and give them the first-hand experience as to what they are looking for, how they need to be prepared for, and so on. So these three things fold. It is already a work in action with a few companies, but if the colleges and the other industries and companies adopt, I think we should be able to get the ready resources to be built right from the day one itself.
Yeah, that's a great point. In fact, it's something we see a lot of as well in our work vision, wanting to teach, and universities leveraging that practitioner's perspective. Yeah.
I have a question now. In your experience, what unique advantages do senior professionals or retirees bring to companies, and how can company best use them or take the advantage of them?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. And we actually get this a lot in our conversations with various organizations. The first and foremost, it's just their seniority, it's their decades of professional experience that comes with familiarity in navigating different roles, different structures, maturity, the seniority, the depth of experience. That's a main obvious one. But additionally, what we're seeing is a lot of flexible hiring and approach to bringing these folks into the workplace, which is advantageous. It's what the vision want, but it's also advantageous to the organizations. That's sort of what we are seeing. Mainly, they fill a lot of niche skill gaps, or they fill, let's say, interim leadership roles, temporary ones, or they bring industry knowledge and expertise from whichever sector they have been in through their professional life. We also see a lot of projects asks, whether it's like business projects, strategy projects, or greenfield projects for various organizations. So there is a lot of advantage that our clients are seeing. And I mean, there is no like light way to put this, but it does end up being more budget friendly to have retired professionals on a consulting contract basis for organizations, and they bring a lot more value to the table right from day one.
Thank you, Neeharika.
So yeah. So my next question for you, Ravi, is of course LTTS being in the tech side of the world is probably at the forefront of innovation in many ways. But for you in your role or in the HR team, how do you sort of leverage technology to identify, nurture, retain talent in the organization?
I think the past few sessions which happened here, a lot was spoken about retention and technology. In LTTS, what we do is right from getting the talent from out from the market, we use AI-driven tools so that not too much of time is spent by a recruiter or the hiring team. That makes us to ensure that the TA or the hiring team can spend good quality amount of time and the other aspects to it. Apart from that, we also have digital platforms, learning platforms, which cater to people to self-learn. And our IDPs are also built upon those digital platforms to make sure that these individuals go through those IDPs. We have a global engineering academy. We call it as a GEA, which ensures that these digital platforms are available for everyone in the organization. We believe in the mantra of democratic learning. That's what you say. And based on the democratic learning, everyone should be able to have an access to learn what they want to. While they want to learn what they want to, but we want to make sure that the learning is attached to in the line of the business as such. While the most of it is delivered in-house, there are certain certifications which are available out in the market. Those are also digitally available for these employees. And while we can teach, while we can make people ready of it, but unless and until you do not have a directory for reaching out the right talent for putting up for the right project, so that's all going to be waste. So we also have a platform where we have a skill inventory which is readily available at any given point in time. Most of the companies do find a challenge that it's not updated, but in our organization, it's updated on the real time. Every individual is have the responsibility to make sure that they are updating it, and they also have the responsibility to, as and when they get certified, they update that along with the certification or the certificates that So it becomes a approach for us to look at the readily available talent from those digital platforms to put for any new project that's come in. It's always a pull and push. There has to be a zeal for the individuals to learn, which is the mantra for them to grow up the ladder. At the same time, we as an organization, because we are responsible for these employees, we are need to make sure that we keep them ready for future projects or future new technologies which is coming in, which is our responsibility to make sure that we keep them. So we drive all of these to digital platform, and that's how we are able to, especially in the engineering services space, unlike the IT services for sure, we always call ourselves to be different, and we need the resources when they are working on the complete product life cycle. We need individuals to be ready, and we individuals to be ready with the new skills actually. So that's how we thrive on it.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of folks in the audience are curious as to exactly how and which digital platforms LTTS uses. Great.
So let me ask you the next question, Neeharika. So the next is: do you see organizations successfully leveraging a multi-generational workforce as a competitive advantage? If so, how can this approach drive innovation and growth?
Yeah, we do. I mean, the simple answer is yes. We ourselves, in the last year and a half, 2 years, have worked with over 200 organizations of all sizes, MNCs, listed companies, MSMEs, startups, etc. As a side note, almost 30% of our client organizations are also non-profits. But keeping that aside, we have supported these clients with many different kinds of requirements. We do, like I was mentioning earlier, we do see a lot of niche skills and subject matter expertise across engineering, manufacturing. Then you see industry experts. Even large organizations like an Aditya Birla Group will still reach out to say, hey, I don't have expertise in some XYZ sector, but I want to, it seems to be like growing, so I want to maybe establish a business there. Can you give me an industry veteran who will guide my strategy, maybe do some due diligence and so on? So that's another piece. And there's a lot of projects works that happens in our country across MSMEs, even large companies. So these folks with their experience and their steady hand can ensure that projects happen as they need to happen. And it also works because it's not a permanent role that they have to take up from their side. So yeah, there is a lot of need and asks that we are seeing from different kinds of organizations.
Thank you, Neeharika.
Okay. I guess this would be the last question for you, Ravi, and also very relevant to our work at WisdomCircle. How do you integrate diversity and inclusion strategies when it comes to future proofing your talent and ensuring diverse perspectives can drive innovation?
Thanks for the question, Neeharika. So this diversity and inclusion, most of the companies run like a percentage and quota, right? I mean, this is my view. We need to make sure that there's an environment created for diversity, for underrepresented group. If the environment is kept ready, I think automatically the diverse group comes in. It's a mindset that we need to look at. As an organization, we at LTS, we make sure that the underrepresented are, when they come into the organization, we create that kind of an environment for them. And there's an inclusivity that we drive, right? And it's not just about having a gender ratio, it's all about the other set of people who are underrepresented are also, are given the opportunity and the environment is created for them, and they feel that they also can nurture themselves and grow up the ladder. How do we bring the technology and innovation to this? Just to give you numbers, we as an organization, we get 50 patents a quarter as such. So you can just look back, if you're looking at 50 patents a quarter, how many applications would have been filed, how many ideas would have been coming in kind of. We push for innovation in the organization. When we say innovation, it all starts with a simple idea, an idea which an individual has. And we have kept the environment in such a way that employees do not feel shy to come in. Most of the time, what happens is, before I complete the previous statement, most of the time, what happens, the employee feel either scared or shy to come and give an idea because the manager might push it across and say that no, let's keep it aside. But if you create an environment where people are free to speak and people are able to give their ideas for any project, any change that they want to bring in, then that can be taken to the POC level, and then we can go to the patent side. We do reward our employees for every idea that comes in. It may not be necessarily only on the technology side, but we also look at any other idea. It could be a simple process change, which can drive a better experience for the employee, And while doing this, so we also get those technology related or innovation related ideas which are nurtured and taken ahead. As a unique program, we also what we do is something called as a tech gym, where we collaborate between academia and industry and our customers. And it's a high reward program wherein the students from different colleges and universities come in and they do solve the problems that our customers would have come in, customers would have given. And this is assessed by the academicians, the industry experts, and it doesn't matter, what that technological idea is, or will be able to build that. But an innovation, an idea which comes in, and a customer is able to see some value out of it. I think that's good. So diversity inclusion is not just a mere quota or a percentage, but it needs an environment to be created which can make way for that. Yeah. I just have one last question for you, Niharika. How are organizations rethinking their talent strategies and internal process to actively include older generation and retirees in the workforce?
Yeah. Actually, I want to sort of start that response by completely echoing and plus one to what you just said, Ravi. What we are seeing with our work when it comes to quote unquote age diversity, it's not necessarily about a strategy or a process, it's more about a mindset of inclusion. And of course, ultimately, there has to be a business need, and it has to be, I mean, a WisGen has to be the right person to fill that requirement. But ultimately, it's a mindset shift to say that, hey, I need these skills, and either I need that seniority and maturity, or maybe age and seniority doesn't really matter for what I need. In both of those cases, to have an open mind and to bring these folks back into the workplace is what we're seeing. Just to share some quick statistics, in by 2050, reports are saying that a quarter of the world's population is going to be 55 plus. In India, it's going to be around 20%, which is 1 in 5 people if you really think about it. So are our workplaces really reflective of that? Definitely there are some things that more senior and experienced individuals can bring to the table that and a younger person, I mean including myself even, maybe necessarily cannot. A great example we have seen so far in our work is actually Schneider Electric, where they have a global mandate to convert some percentage of their workforce into gig, and they're actually actively looking for partners who can make that vision a success, right? Like by contributing talent that can be gig talent. So yeah, we are in fact ourselves, we have grown a lot in the last 2 years. We have 80,000 WisGen today in our database and more coming every day. So there is definitely a requirement from the talent side. We're also seeing enough demand from organizations that we feel confident in expanding globally. So we've opened in a couple of other countries just in the last 1-2 months. So yeah, it's happening. Maybe it's a similar journey as anything else with DNI, but yeah, it's happening slowly and surely.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely,
you.
Niharika. That's inclusivity also means when you say underrepresented, it's also about your older generation coming in and how the older generation are accepted, and the new generations are in turn are accepted by the older generations as such. We see the drift. I just heard the previous panel talking about when our kids are doing the gaming, and they're talking about. I mean, we accept that at our home, but when we come to the office, that inclusivity totally goes off. I mean, it's end of the day, the freshers are like, but are we able to? We see that we as just more a work, more an employer. But if the basic one step of inclusivity can start from there, I think we can go a longer way. But it's all a mindset, as you rightly said. With that, thank you.